Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Kerner. I'm with Microsoft. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Today, we will discuss how the London Stock Exchange Group, also known as LSEG, and Microsoft are transforming financial markets. We're taking LSEG's data and analytics and combining it with Microsoft's cloud and AI platform to reimagine the daily workflows that financial professionals use. And we're going to cover this topic in 3 stanzas. First, we will talk about AI in LSEG Workspace, which is LSEG's flagship application for financial professionals. Next, we'll talk about how LSEG data and analytics are coming in to Microsoft solutions like Copilot, Teams, Excel. And then finally, we'll talk about how LSEG is making their data and analytics available to makers in every organization to create bespoke agents that meet that own organization's specific needs. And we'll have a quick bonus at the end talking about a solution that Microsoft has developed for our own internal use that provides actionable insights integrated with LSEG's newsfeed to our treasury officers. First, I thought we could talk a little bit about the LSEG-Microsoft partnership. This is a strategic collaboration. It begins with transformation of LSEG's data estate into a modernized cloud asset that enables greater scale and modern data distribution channels to customers globally. Then another piece that we're working on is bringing AI to workflows, whether that's in LSEG Workspace for users that are found there, or in Teams, PowerPoint, Excel, and Copilot, where many users live today. And then we'll also continue to do work to pre-stage the complex integration work that many customers have to do who bring together LSEG solutions and Microsoft platforms so that we can reduce cost, shorten time to value, and improve client outcomes. And finally, this is a co-engineering partnership. We have a joint team, we have joint sprints, which we deliver based on sort of customer input that directly prioritizes what we do. So let's just talk about the 3 areas that we're going to cover today. The first of these is AI and LSEG Workspace. Imagine you might have a question like, what's driving oil prices this quarter? You can ask that question, and Workspace can immediately give you data-backed answers and analysis and charts, all curated by LSEG based on their unmatched data corpus. Then we have scenarios where users find themselves in Microsoft solutions. And so maybe you're in Copilot. It can pull in LSEG data in response to a question that you ask. Maybe you're in Teams, you're preparing a pitch deck. You can, with a click, add a live chart and immediately enrich your productivity workflows with LSEG capabilities right where you already are. And then finally, a breakthrough for customers is many organizations have their own workflows and their own proprietary data and their own systems of record and engagement. And they want to enable agentic workflows across those systems informed by trusted market data. LSEG is now bringing their data, their AI-ready data, into Copilot Studio to enable end users who are not professional developers to be able to make agents that can be used within their own organizations to meet their unique requirements. So as we come to the topic of AI and LSEG Workspace, I'd like to welcome Nes Tojalal. Nes is the group head of the Workspace platform at LSEG. Welcome, Nes.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming, and thanks
Pleasure.
for your partnership.
Yeah.
So, Nes, we're going to talk about AI in LSEG Workspace for intelligent content discovery. What is LSEG Workspace, and what is intelligent content discovery?
Thank you. So, as Matt mentioned already, Workspace is the flagship customer-facing platform for the London Stock Exchange Group. And essentially, it serves 350,000 users across the investment and the trade lifecycle. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the fact that financial professionals spend time chasing data, switching between systems, and that time is valuable, and it comes at the expense of opportunities to make the right trades, to make the right investment decisions. And as we think about how to solve that problem, clearly AI is playing a transformative role. And whilst AI brings speed, in financial services, value comes from confident decisions and secure collaboration in one place. And that's where the partnership with Microsoft and LSEG really comes in, delivering 3 key enablers that we'll talk about. The first are actionable insights underpinned by the market's most comprehensive, accurate, and trusted data for financial workflows. The second is to showcase the benefits of integrated workflows, how we can combine formerly known as apps, individual applications that need some level of manual workflow through to interoperable applications enabled by single sign-on experiences. And the third key enabler is all about collaboration, done in a secure way to support the needs of financial professionals. So we'll step into the demos, and the first demo that we'll talk about relates to essentially solving a problem for a senior banker. But now bankers and also other types of users within financial services, such as research analysts, spend a lot of time preparing pitch books. It's a convoluted, it's a cumbersome process. It can take typically 15 to 30 hours a week just to work on one single pitch book. And that's generally because you're having to stitch together various fragmented data sets. So our ability to bring together trusted and accurate insights at speed means that our customers can build pitch books more quickly and with more confidence than ever before. And what you'll see are the enablers to achieve that outcome. Firstly, natural language to search and summarize, again, underpinned by that trusted, accurate data, which is incredibly important for it to be regulatory grade. The second is about agentic workflows, and there's a basic example of one where the user can use natural language to build and modify a report. And then integrated workflows that demonstrate the importance of citations and auditability. So let's take a look.
Our customer opens Workspace and wants to get up to speed on a company in their coverage sector, so they ask for an update. The response is constructed using LSEG's unique, trusted data and exclusive content, including Reuters News. There's also an unmatched range of equity research and access to global deals data and corporate events. Workspace AI brings this all together in one summarized response. Even at this early stage, we have already saved hours by delivering data within a single, seamless workflow. Now, they ask for key highlights from an earnings call. And Workspace creates a summary using transcripts, news, equity research, and filings, all with clear citations integrated seamlessly into the workflow. The customer is now equipped with unique insights derived from a wide range of LSEG's exclusive sources. They need further research and analysis to build a pitch book. So the user asks Workspace to create a company report. Workspace analyzes the request and knows what is required. It creates a comprehensive report using LSEG's trusted data, including financial reporting and estimates, news, equity research, deals data, comparable peers, shareholders and management, and more. The peer set is something they'll need for the pitch book, but in this case, they want to add a revenue column to the table. Workspace can help with that via its AI companion. The companion understands natural language and can search for and modify content. In this case, it correctly interprets the request, fetches the data, and updates the report. It's easy, fast, and accurate.
So, Nej, I could imagine that if I were building a pitch book, this could save me a tremendous amount of time. And all of this curated intelligence from Workspace could be hugely helpful for me. I wonder if you could share takeaways for, maybe the folks who would prepare pitch books, and then maybe if there are people in the audience who might think about creating similar solutions of their own, what could you share about how you came to deliver this and what you've learned?
Yeah, great questions, Matt. I think from a user perspective, clearly speed is critically important, and that's demonstrable here, but confidence. And I think that really sums it up. The builder's perspective, certainly the transformation that we've been on, as I'm sure this group is very familiar, to bring together various different data assets in a uniform way, structured, unstructured, is no mean feat. It's a monumental task that we've really been going through in partnership with Microsoft. The second piece is about not just user, but SME-centered design, thinking about how we iterate based on feedback to drive the user experience and the eval process. The third is the technical complexity that we need to work through, moving from the historical paradigm of a keyword search-driven experience through to really working through a semantic layer and the orchestration that comes with that. And then the other piece that I'd quickly mention is build versus partner, and for us, it's actually been both.
That's great. So let's move on to the next topic. Of course, many users find themselves in Workspace day to day, and that's fantastic, and they're best served by AI and capabilities that show up in Workspace. But then other users find themselves in Teams or Excel, and they're doing tasks, and we're really interested in meeting those users where they already live and bringing the best of LSEG to them. So how, Nej, do we go about doing that?
Yeah, that's spot on. Many of our customers spend a lot of time in Teams or in Excel, and it's incredibly important from an LSEG perspective to demonstrate that open architecture and partnership, and we do that through the Microsoft partnership. In this demo, what we'll show you is how Workspace makes traders make faster and smarter execution decisions. In volatile markets, execution costs can make or break a trade, yet traders often rely on fragmented data and manual processes that slow them down and increase risk. So working with a third party that is a specialist in trade performance analytics, part of our ecosystem approach, Workspace brings together everything in the form of seamless workflows using natural language queries like, what's the best way to execute this order? Secondly, embedding the analytics and trade tickets into one seamless workflow, and then also integrating third parties that provide specialist skills that are important for this particular type of workflow. Let's take a look.
Here we have another familiar scenario. A portfolio manager has closed a US fund and is now looking to invest in Europe. He contacts his trader for an overview on currency swap conversion. Using the Workspace agent, the trader can share analytics directly in the chat. They can see the lowest cost strategy, and then choose to view it within Workspace. From there, they review the trade cost analysis and create an execution ticket. But that's not all the trader can do. They also use the Workspace agent to review post-trade cost analyses. The trader sees that one provider is charging some of the highest spreads while also having the highest reject cost. Once again, this is where Open Directory can help by facilitating intercompany collaboration. The trader asks the Workspace agent to find their Open Directory contact at the liquidity provider. After starting the conversation, they use the Workspace agent to share costs directly and arrange a meeting to discuss improving future executions. Ultimately, they agree on an outcome in line with best execution policies.
So I think one key insight that I'd love to share with this group is that in a pre-Gen AI world, you would see more distinction between productivity and collaboration tools. But actually, this is a demonstration of an immersive experience that brings both of those experiences, those capabilities together. And through agentic and human collaboration, we've been able to demonstrate the power of teams in this instance.
I have a few observations
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah.
I think one thing that's interesting here is there's an agent that projects this curated set of capabilities from Workspace into Teams, so users can interact directly from there. And then, of course, there's the ability to jump directly from Teams into Workspace in a deep link sort of way that preserves that context so a person doesn't then have to go in a separate application and swivel chair around to sort of get things set up. And the other thing that's sort of in there that I think is quite interesting is that LSEG has this open philosophy of partnership. You saw integration with a trade feeder capability. So our partnership has not only been between our organizations,
right.
It's also involved customers giving feedback, and then it's also involved this ecosystem of LSEG partners that we might not otherwise have interacted with. So that's been super cool to see.
That is spot on.
Now, before we move off of this scenario, one product that I use on a regular basis is the researcher agent in M365 Copilot, which is a deep reasoning agent that can prepare deep analysis of deep subject matter. And I'm very curious now to understand how LSEG data and analytics play together with researcher. Maybe you can take us through that.
Perfect. So when we talked about researcher with Matt and the team, we recognized this is a tremendous capability, whilst also recognizing that users start in different places. But there is a transition that we're seeing where users start in a Copilot screen. And in this instance, we would think of a number of different users that this would be applicable to, and a buy-side research analyst would be one of them. Now, buy-side research analysts can spend hours, if not days, on pulling filings, news, and their own data and trying to kind of compile all of that information in order to generate insights on some type of a thesis. And that's clearly cumbersome, and it's error-prone and so on. And so this was an opportunity for us to be able to meet the user in the Copilot screen to make sure it's maximum convenience, but integrate the power of Workspace, the depth of our trusted, accurate data, directly into that Copilot researcher capability. And as a result, clearly, the research process goes from days to minutes, and that's what we'd love to show you today.
This time, we start in Copilot, using the Microsoft 365 Researcher Agent to pull information from corporate resources and data documents and commodities research from LSEG Workspace. The seamless integration allows the user to create a comprehensive report combining LSEG's licensed data with the portfolio manager's own data using natural language prompts. As the report is built, Copilot Researcher plays an active role in guiding the process. For example, clarification on the approach. This kind of intelligent prompting saves time and helps ensure that analysis is aligned. Once the scope is defined, a detailed data-driven report that provides a comprehensive overview of the sector is generated, with citations that link back to Workspace. After reviewing the initial draft from Copilot Researcher, edits are made. And then the report is easily formatted into a polished Word document ready for sending. Finally, before sending directly to the investment teams, our portfolio manager pinpoints several sections where further insights from industry would be valuable. Using Microsoft Teams Open Directory, it's easy to quickly locate subject matter experts, engage with them, and gather the necessary intelligence. The whole process, from idea to action, has taken minutes.
So just to emphasize a couple of things. The first is the streamlined nature of that workflow, accelerated and valuable from an end user's perspective. The second is actually referencing something, Matt, you mentioned for the previous demo, that interoperability. In the event that an end user needs deeper, richer information based on those citations, making that process seamless has been critically important for us. And then as we move forward, the other component that we want to highlight is the collaboration aspect. Our work with Microsoft to effectively enhance the experience within Microsoft Teams to meet the bar of financial users is another innovation we're quite excited about. That's called Open Directory, and that was also prevalent in this demo.
And maybe just one more word on Open Directory, because it's an interesting topic that people may not know about. Teams supports collaboration between users inside of an organization. They can find each other, they can chat, they can do audio and video calls, share content, etc. Teams also supports collaboration between users in different organizations if the admins set up federation between those organizations. What LSEG is doing, which is quite interesting, is to create a network of institutions and financial services that all agree to federate with each other, and LSEG is facilitating that federation through a sort of a process and an offering and a set of technology that enables then this discovery of users across the ecosystem and a natural interaction of those users across the ecosystem right in the same tool that those people are already using for collaboration within their organization. So it's another scenario where no more swivel chairing, no more having to pick up a phone or chat on a different application. You can just directly do it in Teams.
That's right.
Thank you, Nesh. This has been great.
Thank you, Matt.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next segment, which is a little bit different. So up until now, we've covered scenarios where LSEG curates the experience. The data and analytics and results that are returned kind of have LSEG's seal of approval on them. Now, in other scenarios, an organization may have their own workflow, their own proprietary data, their own systems, and they want to orchestrate across that in an agentic way, and yet they want to ground those scenarios in insights and data from LSEG. And so now we're going to talk about how we make that happen, and in order to do that, I'm going to invite Max Grigoryev, Analytics and AI Product Leader at LSEG, to take us through. So Max, thank you for your time.
Sure, thank you.
This is a super interesting scenario, different from the ones before, because now we're going to go from just end user to sort of maker scenarios. So can you take us through what a maker scenario is and show us an example?
Sure thing. First of all, thanks a lot for having me. And it's been great to see what curated experience we have as a part of our flagship product called Workspace. But also we recognize that the Gen AI in general has brought so much of tooling around how you create those agentic workflows and basically lowered the barrier for everyone to become creators. And Microsoft has a great suite of product where you can just go in, provide your instructions, and create those agentic workflows and then use them on a day-to-day basis. So first and foremost, from the LSEG perspective, what we have created is a product that's called LSEG AI Ready Data. And then what we're doing with this is we're bringing the data semantics next to the customer. We want to make sure that the data is being understood, is being interpreted, and used in the right workflow as a part of the everyday activity or everyday task that we have. Second, we want to make sure that within the Microsoft ecosystem, the user's context is used to make sure that we deliver the right insight. And therefore, within a Copilot and a Copilot Studio, the user context matters a lot for us because LSEG is mapping all the semantics and the ontology of the data that we have and use the knowledge of what our clients are doing within the Copilot ecosystem. And the third and one of the interesting areas is where we are bringing our LSEG AI-ready data in the form of an MCP connector to the Copilot Studio is the fact that companies can commingle our data and content with a variety of different sources, whether it's a proprietary data that you have or whether it's another third-party source. But we want to make sure that our customers are able to accomplish those workflows as they go, automate certain tasks, and be very flexible with what they do with LSEG's content.
So before we look at it, just two questions. The agents that get created here in Copilot Studio, where can they show up?
That's a great question. So when the agents are created in the Copilot Studio, they can be accessed from a variety of different tools that we have in the Microsoft ecosystem that cover M365, that covers Teams, that covers all the different products in the enterprise ecosystem of products that Microsoft has to offer to the customers, and it's all powered by the LSEG AI-ready data.
And so you could embed this even on your own website, not in a Microsoft frame. You could put it at the end of a phone line so people can do voice interaction with the agent. There are a lot, sort of endless channels that you could plug these things into. We won't show you all of those today, but that's possible. And then the agents that get created automatically show up in Agent 365 and are governable.
That's right.
Great. All right, let's see it.
Sure. So what we want to show you is how you can actually create an agent within the Copilot Studio. So here, I'm actually creating an agent, giving some very specific instructions on what this agent is capable of doing. In this case, we are connecting some of our MCPs that are providing the financial analytics to the customer. As you can see, the creation of an agent is a very straightforward task for any financial professional. And here, I'm connecting the agent to the LSEG MCP. So the MCP server provides a handful amount of tools that our customers can use as a part of their workflow. In this case, you can see I'm publishing the agent, I'm going to Microsoft 365, and now I can interact with an agent. And again, everything has been done in minutes. So what I'm able to do here, I'm able to specify the list of assets that I have in my portfolio to get some of the analytics on top of that. And what happens here is you can see some of the identifiers that I have in my portfolio, and then I'm connecting the LSEG MCP as a part of this Microsoft 365 experience. And now coming back to the chat, coming back to the agent, I can see the response with all the metrics and analytics that actually matter to me in this particular moment of time. So here is a demonstration of how easy it is to create an agent, connect an external source, and start interacting with this straight on.
It's great.
So a few reflections on what you just saw in terms of the demo. So first and foremost, I mentioned something that is called LSEG AI-ready data, but what it actually means. So as I said, we take the semantics and everything that we know, not only about the workflows and the tasks that people are accomplishing on a day-to-day basis, but we also took the semantics next to the data itself, so that as a part of that particular workflow, we know what data you need, when you need it, what shape and form this data needs to be delivered in. And this semantic enrichment comes right now in the form of an MCP connector to the Copilot Studio. The second reflection is that right now you saw I haven't touched any kind of code or anything like this. I haven't done any heavy lifting with an agent, but I was still able to create this within the Copilot Studio experience, providing the natural language requirements and the natural language instructions to the agent itself. And this is how easily you can configure something and not only be self-sustained within a particular environment, but also interact with third-party sources like LSEG. And then the third part here is how you can actually create those agents within your own ecosystem, which means that the agent never leaves your premise. The agent is staying within the enterprise Copilot Studio, and it means that you control the narrative, you have the full visibility and traceability of what the agent is doing and what agent is capable of.
This is great. I have a few reflections. First of all, if you think about Copilot Studio and what LSEG is bringing through AI-ready data made easily accessible through this MCP connector, Microsoft is a platform company, and we have great horizontal capabilities that make it very easy to get started building a simple agent, just as you showed, and scale up to very complex scenarios with workflows that interact with multiple systems. You can have deterministic parts, you can have more AI non-deterministic parts. There's lots of sophistication that you can achieve. But what we can't do from Microsoft on our own is have relevance in vertical domains. Our partners bring that. So we have this very complementary capability set, which we're bringing together here in this partnership to bring all of that horizontal value, enterprise value to customers in a very repeatable way across any industry vertical, and then a partnership that's bringing industry vertical know-how and relevance to that horizontal capability. That's sort of the first thing. The second thing I would point out is we really appreciate the partnership on this one because LSEG's been a little bit on the frontier. We have made many fixes to our platform to facilitate this interaction because MCP was new for us when LSEG got started, and it is an area where we continue to invest and we're making it better, and so we deeply appreciate the feedback and partnership and patience as we work through it, and we're excited for the improvements that we'll continue to deliver. So that takes us to the end of this segment. Thank you, Max.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it. Great. So now we're through the main course, and we're going to have one little bonus thing, which is to talk about some work that's happening in Microsoft's treasury. And I want to explain just this scenario a little bit in the context of what we've seen. So the maker experience that Max demoed in Copilot Studio is intended for low-code and no-code development. And we have many professional developers who use Copilot Studio and Power Platform to build professional products because it saves them time. Sometimes when we get pro devs using Copilot Studio or using pro dev tools, they can go further and go beyond what an individual maker might do and say, hey, I'm going to really create a line of business solution tailored to a specific set of business needs that's going to be really sophisticated, and we're going to have a team that works on this and focuses on this sprint over sprint. So that's what we do in our own Treasury department. To give you context on Treasury, Microsoft Treasury manages $100 billion of assets at any given time. We have $300 billion of cash collections on an annual basis, and we operate in 91 currencies. It's a mission-critical function for our company that enables us to do everything from making payroll to building data centers to interacting with our customers. And so it's essential that we run it properly. And because we have such a global operation at such scale, we have a lot of exposure and we have to manage risk. And when a problem occurs, we have to be able to react quickly. And when I say when a problem occurs, it need not be a problem within Microsoft. It can be something of interest in the world. And so that's led our Treasury team to build 𝗦𝗲𝗀, which is a decision hub for the Treasury team to collectively understand where we're at and take action. And it's enriched with LSEG's newsfeed. Now I'm going to show you a little clip of 𝗦𝗲𝗀 in action. On the left, you see the feed of news from LSEG that's integrated into a dashboard with a panoramic financial view that integrates not only LSEG data, but data from dozens of internal systems at Microsoft. We have a persona-based approach that shows the data relevant to each operational team inside of Treasury. And it enables them to see what's going on, score the news based on additional Microsoft context to understand what might be relevant, and then drill in when there's a news item of interest to understand our exposure and what actions we might take. It's also a collaboration hub. And so what you'll see in a moment is the ability to go in and collaborate around an item of interest. And so you can tag people, you can ask questions, you can begin to exchange information. And so the whole team is able to operate in a connected way as we deal with handling whatever things come over the transom as we manage that large portfolio. So that's 𝗦𝗲𝗀, an example of LSEG data in action. Just to reiterate, this is not a product that's available for our customers. We are not attempting to sell this. If you're interested, you can talk to our Treasury team and they could share lessons learned. We really show it as an example of how LSEG data can be combined with Microsoft platforms to achieve the real results in the partnership, which is enabling better decisions faster at lower cost with trust. And so that sort of lets us come to the end of these chapters, and now we zoom back out. Again, we've talked about scenarios in LSEG Workspace, which is LSEG's flagship solution, and we've brought AI into that environment for intelligent content discovery. We've talked about how the capabilities that LSEG has are projected, still curated by LSEG, projected into Microsoft solutions to meet users where they live and enable them to make faster and better decisions, both decision-making and collaboration. And finally, we talked about the ability for makers and developers to create solutions of their own that use LSEG data to ground responses and deliver trusted intelligence in AI workflows. We're so excited about this partnership. We can't wait for what's to come. Thank you, Nej and Max, for your time. Thanks, everybody, for your time. That's it.